Hey, it's Josiah Novak, and welcome to the True Transformation Podcast, the top fitness podcast for men who want to get ripped, naturally boost testosterone levels, and use fitness as a tool to not only look and feel better, but improve all areas of life in the process. Welcome to the show. Buckle up. Life moves fast. Let's make it count.
Today we're talking about rapid fat loss. I'm giving you a rapid fat loss protocol that my clients have followed. Those of my clients who want to see faster fat loss results in the beginning of a fat loss plan. This is something that I recommend for people who have a lot of motivation up front, right? They're super excited. They want to get into it and they need to see results to just generate some self-belief, right? They want to see their body change. They want to know, hey, what is this even worth it? The first thing, I suggest eating 3 big meals per day that you enjoy. 3 big meals basically fits into everybody's schedule. I'm going to explain how this works. You're thinking, dude, what are you talking about? I thought you said rapid fat loss. I could have sworn you said fat loss. I didn't think you said gain weight. It sounds like you're talking about gaining weight, but no, we're talking about fat loss. Here's how we're going to set up your calories, okay? Because calories are always going to be the king when it comes to determining what your weight does. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the show, but it's important to remember this always, okay? Don't get caught up in the hype of going, super low carb and all this other nonsense. It's all about calories. Calories and protein are the 2 biggest things, assuming you're eating quality food most of the time. What we're going to do with your calories is we're going to set it up to where 5 days a week, typically Monday through Friday for most clients, 5 days a week of lower calories. Okay, so about 1,000 below maintenance. So let me just give you an example. Let's say, I'll use myself as an example. Let's say I maintain my weight around 3,200 calories a day, just as a random number, 3,200, which isn't far off actually. It's about 3,200 for me. So if I want a 1,000 calorie per day deficit, I would bump that sucker down to about 2,200 calories Monday through Friday. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I get to that number if I don't know what my maintenance is? Well, here's a good place to start. Take your goal body weight, times it by 15. Okay. So let's just do some quick math here. Let's just use a client as an example. We'll use a client. We'll call him Mike. Let's say Mike currently weighs 230 pounds, but wants to weigh 200. So we would take 200 as his goal body weight, times that by 15. That's 3,000 calories for Mike. Now, it was pretty close to my number, right? 3,200 calories, because I know that I maintain at 3,200, but Mike doesn't know. He just needs a starting point. So Mike's starting point for the 5 days of lower calories would be 2,000 calories per day. All right. Now, what do we do the other 2 days? All we do on the other 2 days is we bump that number up by 500 so that you're really eating 500 calories below maintenance for 2 days a week. Okay. That gives you some more satiation, if you will, right? Keeps that appetite at bay so you're not starving every single day. So we got 5 days of pretty aggressive low calories, 2 days of not as aggressive. Very doable for most people, especially in the beginning. Because keep in mind, this is a rapid fat loss protocol. This is not what we're going to follow forever. This just gets people results at the beginning of a plan. Okay. A couple other tips here. We want to focus on protein as much as possible, especially during the week, because you're going to start getting hungry and I want to keep your food as satisfying as possible. So I like to make sure that every single meal has a good chunk of protein. Typically what we're aiming for every day, 7 days a week, is about 1 gram of protein per goal body weight, but that could be really high for some people. So I give you a window. I'd say, 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight minus 25 to 30 grams. So in Mike's case, that would be somewhere between 170 and 200 grams of protein per day. And protein per gram is 4 calories. So you would just times that by 4. Let's say he got 200 grams of protein in. And that would be 800 calories. So he'd then have 1,200 calories left to play with for carbs and fats on his low days. On his high days of calories, he would then have 1,700 calories to play with, which is quite a bit. All right. Now, this might seem like a lot of math, and you're like, dude, I'm already lost. Keep it simple. A couple other tips here. Eat relatively light during the day so that way you have plenty of calories left over for a satisfying meal at night. Let's move to bullet point number 2. Let's focus on what I have dubbed power foods. Okay, power foods fill you up. It's important when you're trying to lose fat rapidly that you keep your appetite controlled. So besides protein, here's a couple things. Potatoes, salads, Greek yogurt, smoothies that contain a high volume amount of berries and ice and almond milk, things that have low amounts of calories but fill you up. Okay, that's what power foods are. And protein is probably the top of the list there, but potatoes and salads are great as well. Being hungry is usually one of the biggest problems I see with fat loss diets, period. Doesn't matter which diet you're following, whether it's a rapid fat loss protocol or just a moderate fat loss protocol, people get hungry. A little bit of hunger is going to happen, but it should rarely be unbearable, okay? Meaning you want to eat your arm off, you want to eat, anything sounds good. Like an apple sounds incredible, okay? You shouldn't really get to that point, but there might be some times where you get to that point. If you've lost a lot of weight and you're just coming to the tail end of a fat loss phase, berries, carrots, spinach, those things just low calorie, high volume, right? And you're not going to overeat spinach, right? I mean, it's impossible. So let's go to bullet point number 3. Every single day, you should be hitting 10,000 steps per day. No excuses. Along with lifting 3 times per week and doing your best to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Okay, it's called the trifecta. Your movement is important. 10,000 steps per day. However you need to do, whatever you need to do to get that done. Could be cardio on the treadmill, step mill. Could be just walking around your neighborhood. Could be just walking in place. Make it happen. Lift weights, or if you're at home and you don't have weights and you just got body weight, just do bodyweight training 3 times per week. Super effective. Okay, bodyweight training is highly underrated, and it's tough. I've been doing a lot of bodyweight training over the past 6 months, and tell you what, I'm sore quite a bit because it just requires a different type of strength. It's pretty cool. Keep in mind, 3 days a week is plenty. All right, we don't want to do 5-6 times a week when we're doing rapid fat loss for most people, because that's just going to spike your appetite too much. If you're working out all the time, your appetite's going to get out of control. Along with that, get those sleep hours in, okay? If you're someone who gets 4 hours of sleep, I would strongly encourage you to try to get at least 6. I mean, I know 6 for me is tough. I like to get 7 to 8. But once again, I know everyone's schedule is different. Kids are home. It's just crazy. So we got to do our best, but get 6-8 hours of sleep per night, all right? Let's wrap this up with tip number 4. 1 gallon of water per day is a great target. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into water here, but everybody needs a little bit different amounts depending on how much you work out, how much you move, how much you sweat, all that good stuff, what climate you're in. So just keep in mind that you just want to stay hydrated, okay? Quick way to know if you're hydrated, I know it's gross, but look at the color of your pee. All right, if it's a slight tint of yellow, you're good. If it's too dark or a dark yellow, then you're not hydrated enough. And if it's crystal clear, you can basically see right through it, then you probably drank a little too much water, okay? So a gallon of water per day is like the average that I recommend, but it can be more than that for some. It can be less than that for some. You do all those things, well, guess what? You're going to start rapidly losing fat. And what we want to do then is once we start to see the pounds come off, and you've probably gone through this phase for maybe a month or so, then we want to reassess. Okay, how are you feeling? Are you able to sustain this, or should we move to a moderate approach?
Thanks for listening to the True Transformation Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Come back next time.